Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Chris. We've got some exciting news. First, let's get right to it. We got our fourth commit, Eddie McCray. A little disappointing that he dropped to a 2-star. When we were recruiting him, he was a borderline 4-star. I thought he was a sleeper, a hidden gem. And then all of a sudden he drops 400 spots in the rankings. However, so I don't know quite how I feel about it, but we've got 4 commits. Also big news, we are going to start the season. We've got some practicing to do. I'm excited about that. Hopefully all 4 of our guys that have committed go ahead and sign. We've got 2 4-stars in Mike Howard and John Boddicker. Dariel Brown's a 3-star. Point guard who I like, even though the rankings don't, but his athleticism is good. He's a good outside shooter, passer, ball handler type. So I'm excited about him. But again, Boddicker is one of our big guys. Mike Howard as well. Really excited about the future. Again, we've got 4 guys committed. We have 5 openings in this class. And I don't know if I want to wait till the spring, look for a transfer. That was given some great advice about that, to go ahead and do that. Or go ahead and sign somebody else. So we'll see how it goes the rest of this fall leading up to the early signing period. Again, here's some guys that we're looking at. And I want to check in with Rylan at Virginia Tech. He had 3 commits last time we spoke. And just want to check in with him and see how things are going there as well. So again, season opener coming up. I'm excited about it. We've got a good squad. Obviously, getting to the NCAA tournament is the goal. Again, if you're new to the series, we have real rosters for the Miami Hurricanes. Everyone's included. Even Elijah Alinei, who just transferred from Stony Brook. He's on the squad, but I'm going to redshirt him this year. Not going to play him, just to keep true to form, but everybody else is there. All the guys, Chris likes and everybody. So excited about it. Excited about Nyseer Brooks. But again, let's check in with Rylan and see how things are going at Virginia Tech before we get into practicing. I'm excited to see how that goes. Get the message there. But yeah, let's go ahead and check with Rylan. Yeah, so we're moving right along. I want to know how things are going recruiting-wise. Last time we talked, you had 3 commits. Just kind of how's things standing with your squad right now?
Yeah, so last time, I had 1 scholarship offer still out there from my Australian point guard or shooting guard. I was hoping to get them wrangled in with an in-home visit. It didn't work out, so I decided to spend the money and fly out to Australia for round 2. And it worked this time. He ended up signing. So I ended up getting my top 100 4-star shooting guard. It'll be the keystone of my class for sure.
So let's stick with the ACC roundup with recruiting. Florida State. I know there's a fan out there that's been watching the series. Here's how the squad looks there. They get the big recruit. And Syracuse, another ACC school. Another fan that I know is excited about the Orange. But here we go, guys. We're going into practice. And I'm looking at it here. You get a practice breakdown on percent time that you want to spend on each category. I really like this. This is going to be fun now that we're getting into some preseason practices. Our team's going to play mostly man. So I don't want to do all the defenses early on. I want to focus just on man. And again, our philosophy for this team is to be a good offensive team. So I'm going to put more percent towards the offensive sets rather than the defensive sets at this point in time. If we need to switch it up, we will. But again, I'm looking at a 5-out. We're going to start with that. I like the motion. We're going to go with big guys. Nyseer Brooks at center. I'm leaning towards Dane Gack at power forward. I know that's different than what the Hurricanes would typically do. But I like going with the big guys there. But for now, we're going to work on 5-out. In motion, just kind of keep it simple for now. But again, as it gets into it, and the big guys that Miami has, they're not going to be the big scorers. So it's still going to be a guard-heavy team. Chris likes Cam McGusty, Isaiah Wong, Harlan Beverly, and even with the perimeter guy and freshman Earl Timberlake. So I don't want to go too heavy with the front court. So that's my plan. But again, I'm just kind of messing with these here, trying to think about what to do. But again, we can change this every week essentially. So this kind of sets the plan for the week for the practices, and I like it. That's how we're going to start it. We are getting close to the season, but we're just going to keep going with this practice plan. Maybe make some adjustments leading up to the first game. And here it is, game day, November 15th. We're playing South Carolina State to start the game. I'm going to go ahead and sim it, and we're going to watch this thing play out. Curious how it looks. It's a little bit different. Again, we're just watching. So this is the starting 5 we're going with. Likes, McGusty, Timberlake, Gack, and Brooks. Those are the 5 we're going with. I think the one that stands out to you, obviously freshman Earl Timberlake. I'm trying to build the program around him. So I want to get him some valuable minutes. Oh, this is nice. This is cool. So you see the court here. Okay, you get a little bit of action. You don't get to see everything, but it's just cool. You're going to just watch them pass, and you can follow along with the play log. And as the game goes on, let's go ahead and talk about the team. I guess since we're staying on it with Timberlake, let's start with him. You know, one of the things, highly regarded guy. He signed in the spring, committed in the fall. He's an athletic 6'5", 6'6" guy, about 220 pounds. Left-handed shooter, can shoot it a little bit, known for his athleticism. But the thing that stands out to me about Earl, and not just the numbers, he can score and rebound and those kind of things, but the league that he played in high school, there in the DC area, he played at DeMatha. You know, I had heard a lot about it before, and I had seen some of the teams over the years here and there, whether at AAU or I've even seen one of the high school teams come down to South Florida. So I've seen it a little bit. And if you follow recruiting, you know they produce guys, that area, for sure. But a few years ago when Chris Likes was a senior, Dane Gack, you know, Lonnie Walker, I went up there to the Northeast, and I watched all 3 of those guys play in high school. And I want to say it was 3 games in 3 days, or maybe it was 3 games in 4 days, something like that. Planned it all out. Saw Chris Likes in DC, Lonnie Walker was in Reading, Pennsylvania, and then Dane Gack played for Blair in New Jersey. I had a lot of fun. I flew in, rented a car, drove all around, had a great time. Got to see my old college roommate. Shout out to Joe. Had a great time with him as well. But what I want to say about Earl, and man, just looking at our squad, look at this, 18-3 lead. This is exactly what we want. We're just cooking. 5 minutes into the game, this is what you want to see for the Hurricanes. I like the court. This is really cool. Obviously, Watsco Center is the name of it, but it's cool. It's still with the logos. It's pretty neat. I'm kind of digging this a little bit. But what I want to get to, what I saw with DC basketball, seeing Chris play, and he played for Gonzaga and actually played DeMatha, but highly intense. Gym is packed. It was a lot of fun, and just seeing the intensity, and literally when you're looking at both starting 5s, guys on the bench, you're seeing D1 talent all over the place. Guys going to the ACC, saw another guy going to UConn. I mean, it was just a lot. It was definitely, you know, the reputation the league has is just the best in the country, the most competitive, and when you see it in person, like I did, like I really had, I wouldn't say a newfound respect, but just definitely, it's legit. You know, you hear so much about things, but when you see it in person, I was definitely impressed by what I saw, and it was a lot of fun. Got to see Chris play well, talk to his coach afterwards, talk to Chris, and things like that. So it was a lot of fun. Videos out there. I've put that out there if you guys want to check back on that. If you type in Chris Likes Gonzaga inside the U or whatever. And just real quick, if you guys like this series, be sure to hit the like button. It helps out a lot. Subscribe to the channel. Stay locked in on this Dynasty and the other things we've got going on. But anyways, with Earl coming from that area, I feel like he's definitely going to be ready for the ACC play, ready to make an instant impact. And I like the things I've heard about him, so I do think he'll be a good player for Miami, and excited to see how he does. So that's my take on Earl Timberlake. I want to get him in there to start. I don't know if he'll start for the Hurricanes. They tended to, over the recent years, even with the good recruits like Lonnie, who I just mentioned, it took him a long time to start. Essentially, he didn't start the whole non-conference schedule. It's taken some other guys, you know, DeJuan Huell, you know, obviously DeJuan Hernandez, same kind of thing. It just takes some time for the staff to go ahead and make that move with the freshmen. So I wouldn't be surprised if Earl didn't start, and I think what you'll see is, if I were to guess, I would think it'll go Likes, McGusty, and I think Isaiah Wong will be that guy. I think he'll step into the 2 spot. McGusty at about 6'5" can play that 3, that third guard, the bigger guard. Definitely needs to improve on defense, but as senior year, he's a guy that you're definitely hoping for big things. So I'm excited to see how the Hurricanes look. And again, I think they definitely are legitimate tournament contenders. I think staying healthy and things like that, the way the pieces fit, I like what they have. I think obviously with college teams, you're looking at strengths and weaknesses. Every team has them, even the good ones. And I think the strengths of their team, I think Nasir Brooks is an upgrade with his minutes at center, and particularly on the defensive end. Again, a guy that's been in the NCAA tournament 3 times with Cincinnati. He understands defense, got great length, rebounds. I think he's going to be a valuable asset. I think he'll be, if I had to guess, maybe 8 to 11 points kind of range as a scorer. High percentage, doesn't need a lot of shots kind of a guy, which I think is typical for big men in college basketball. So again, look at the squad, 33-11. We're cooking here. So everything's going well. The way the game works, and I didn't show you guys this, but the way the game works is you set up all the substitutions. So you set up Chris Lakes gets the first 2 minutes, or the first 4 or 8 or whatever, and then you put who do you want your backup point guard to be. So I definitely think that's going to be a work in progress as the season goes on, just to make sure I get the right minutes. One thing that stood out to me that I was thinking about was I didn't want Likes to play too heavy in minutes, so I set his minutes at 30 or 32, I think 32, and then Brooks was 30. I think those were the top 2 guys. McGusty, obviously a good player, but because of the other guys on the bench, Beverly, Isaiah Wong, Timberlake, kind of that 2-3 spot, it seems a little crowded. And with that, and you see it right there, number 33. So that's the new squad here. So Matt Cross is another freshman. I know Miami's excited about. They really like his toughness, and they really think he can shoot the outside shot. He didn't shoot at a great percentage in EYBL play last year, but they like him. I remember Jim telling me that they kind of see him as maybe a DJ Vasilovic stepping in to shoot the 3-pointer for their team. I don't know if he's going to be that good of a shooter, but certainly a guy you want to shoot threes and things like that. But what I'm finding is, and that's what's kind of fun about doing these dynasties, with the real rosters, it's one thing to talk about it, but now when you're actually setting minutes, game plans, and things like that, Matt Cross is a guy like, well, where's he going to fit in? And I only say that because there's so many other guys. I think he's the 11th guy on the roster for me on the minutes, just because once you start going through the rundown, like, will he play over these guys? And if everyone's healthy, he kind of seems to be in that spot, which isn't a bad thing. And maybe I have it wrong. Maybe he's going to find more minutes. And that would be great. Obviously, freshmen getting minutes is big. And maybe that's what they'll do. They'll rotate. I think some of the big men, you could take some of their minutes, cut them down. But as it stands, they still have Rodney Miller. So there's 2 centers, Brooks and Miller. Power forwards, Sam Wardenberg, who would likely start over Gak. And I say that because he's played more than him over the last, since they've been at UM. I went with Gak because he's a junior, and I wanted to have a little bit more minutes dedicated to the junior, and Sam's a senior, so that's why I made that move. But Sam certainly would be the projected starter, I would assume. So yeah, we are winding down and crushing this team. This is good, so we can just keep the talk going. So again, Wardenberg, Gak at power forward. Then you still have Anthony Walker there. So there's 5 guys in the front court. And then your small forwards looking at Timberlake and Cross. So there's 2 more guys. Then you have your guards and McGusty and Beverly, and then Likes and Wong. So you're talking 11 guys there. Essentially 2 at each spot and 3 power forwards is the way I look at it. Again, Elijah's going to redshirt. That's the plan with him. He's a 2-guard, good scorer. He'll step in next year in a lead scoring role, I would assume. And I still want to do some more stuff on the website there, InsideTheU.com. Check it out. But I want to do more stuff on Elijah so you guys kind of get a sense on what kind of player he is. Plenty of time to do that. This is a great first half. This is going well for the squad. We have a fairly easy non-conference schedule. I wanted to set that up. Want to make sure we got some wins. The way they, oh yeah, let's look at this halftime stats. Yeah, Likes and McGusty doing well. That's good. That's good. I like it. So yeah, everything seems to be going well, and I'll have to make adjustments. But one of the things I would say is, in this game, you set up your non-conference rival, and essentially you play them every year. And so I set up Florida. So they actually have a good team on here. I think they're ranked, I want to say top 10. So we play them in the non-conference. And then we have one of the preseason tournaments, which was really cool too. I think it's the Diamond Head Classic. I think that's where we go. End of November. I could have that wrong. But anyways, yeah, this is the way it's going. And just again with Virginia Tech and Ryland, we're going to check in with him and see how his opener went. And I don't want to do this every game. You know, this will take a long time to get through a season. So I think, you know, maybe we'll do it like this for the big games, but essentially simulate the games that aren't as big and kind of mix them in. And again, stay with recruiting. It's kind of interesting. So you got a week during the early, just right now, in November here for the early signing period. And now that we have 4 commits, I want them all to sign. I've kind of heard that it could be a little bit of red flags if they don't sign. So I'm hoping they do, especially Mike Howard, top 40 player in the country, 6'8" power forward. I know everyone's getting excited to have him on the squad, but yeah, and I think that's big because I feel like we've got good young guards in the program. So to add some quality big men, I think that would be huge, and that's why I got him and Boddicker. I want to start them both at the same time. And then what I didn't get to touch it on recruiting a little bit. Yeah, McGusty, 18 points. Wow, he's doing well. And shout out to everybody that saw McGusty tear it up in the NCAA tournament. The games that we played there on NCAA Basketball 10 with the real 2020 rosters, we went all the way to the national title game. You guys got to check out that series if you like watching the gameplay there. So that was a lot of fun. McGusty, to me, was the player of the tournament for the Hurricanes. So it was a lot of fun. And now he's just picking up where he left off. This would be great. I know these are just simulations. It's not the real thing. But it is certainly great to see McGusty do well. So this is cool. But yeah, definitely going to keep this thing going. I like how this looks. So, but I hope the guys sign early. Again, Mike Howard, top 40 player. We're going to see how that plays out. Yeah, this is good. So if you guys are new to the game, if you guys are interested in playing this, I have it set up where this is going to just be a computer simulation, but you can stop these games and actually coach these games with substitutions and changing your play sets and things like that. But for the sake of the video, for the sake of the series, I wanted to set it up as preset it and then let it play out. And I definitely want to make some adjustments as it goes on. And one of the things I think might be cool too is maybe we'll play a game like this when we play Virginia Tech. Maybe we get Riley. Maybe we could do some sort of a video there too. But yeah, everything's looking good. Up by 30. The one thing I just kind of thinking of it. The one thing that I got to keep in mind is because it's not in game. You know, the minutes that I set up for the starters, maybe I would want to adjust that in these games right here, just to get the other guys more minutes, like it would typically happen. I don't think you'd run Chris Likes out for 34 minutes or anything like that in a game like this when it gets out of hand. So maybe I'll scale him back on these kind of games. Guys like him, Brooks same way. I'm looking at Brooks right there. You see in the bottom right hand corner. He's got the red, that's a stamina bar for each player, and the way I've got Brooks set up, it looks like I'm playing him too much. Maybe his stamina's not great, maybe because he's a big guy, that kind of thing, but I definitely want to make that adjustment. So he's not so tired out there. Yeah, this is good. And also, too, it's a little bit, and I think this is the way it is with during the real season is, how much are you gaining when you play these games? What are the things you're taking out of it just because you've got better players? And I'm kind of finding that out, too. Like, what do they need to work on? It's kind of, everything looks great because you're up by a bunch. But it's going to definitely look a lot different when we play ranked teams or ACC teams. But it's a whole season. It's a whole, everything. Keep practicing. Keep working on things so that. Yeah, and I hope you guys are enjoying this. It's definitely been good to see in the comments, your guys' thoughts on things and what you think of the game. I think, and I don't have any affiliation to the game or anything like that, or the developer, Wolverine, anything like that. But what I will say is if you're interested in things like this, games like this, particularly games, simulator where you're in control of the whole squad, a program, I do think that you'll enjoy it, especially with the recruiting, and I tried to show you guys a lot of that. I think it'd be something that you could get into, for sure. And I remember, speaking of recruiting, I forgot to mention earlier, so we've got Boddicker and Howard at the power forward spot that are committed. What I'm noticing with Marlon Few, I'm finding myself a little torn on what to do with him. Again, he was a 3-star guy from Florida, top 5 in the state. I felt like he was going to commit at any point, never did. And now I don't know what to do with him because he's kind of a prospect on the rise, doing well. But I don't know if I want to use that 5th scholarship offer for him and try to lock him up. And then we're bringing in 3 power forwards in the same class. I think they're all around 6'8", 6'9". So it's not like one would be a definite center. And even if you play 2 of them together, the third one essentially either you redshirt him the first year, but even then, that just spaces it out a little bit. But essentially that third guy would be a bench guy his whole career, unless maybe you give him that 1 year as a senior. So I'm a little unsure. The whole time we've been recruiting, I've been telling you guys that I haven't been paying attention too much to the positions. But now that things I have some shape with what the class is looking like, now I have some decisions to make. Do you go with that 3rd power forward, or hold out, or the way it looks right now with Adariel Brown, the point guard, not highly rated. Eddie McRae, I was excited about him, but he definitely went the other direction in the rankings. I did not see that coming. I wonder if he'll decommit. If I don't talk to him, maybe he'll decommit. But anyways, I definitely feel like I need just with those 2 not being big strengths, I definitely feel like I need another guard or a small forward there. So I'm a little torn on what to do there. And it's also about just the excitement of being able to grab a guy. I feel like Marlon Few would come if we wanted him to. We pulled the offer because of how it was looking. So, and again, what you're finding out, and I remember one of the comments from someone watching the series is just, finding it, you kind of get a look at how difficult it is to recruit at a place like Miami. Tough conference, not huge in-state recruiting, not huge program history, but you play in a very competitive conference. It's a very interesting dynamic. And obviously all the positives, there's certainly positives with Miami, the campus, the city. They have had recent success. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting to see how recruiting goes and what to do, and I'm having fun with those kind of decisions. And I think you guys are too. If you're in on this, you definitely see that. And also, guys, I'm very well aware. Huge shout out to everybody who likes these series. If you're not a Miami fan, if you're not a Virginia Tech fan, but you just like college basketball, or if you like this series. Some people play it and want to see what other people are doing, and that's been a lot of fun too. Kind of watching other people's decision-making process and maybe what works, what doesn't work. Look at that. So there we go. We got the win. Not a lot to talk about with the game in terms of it wasn't super intense, but we got the win. So yeah, 50 points in the first half, tied up in the second half. I don't like that, but that's okay. Got a huge win. Cameron McGusty, bottom left-hand corner, player of the game. 25 points, we'll take that. That's awesome. Chris likes a big game. Other than that, it looked like it was pretty spread out. A couple things that stand out to me. There at the bottom, I got to get Elijah off that minutes thing. It's a little weird. You can't redshirt. It looks like you can't redshirt the upperclassmen. Only freshmen or sophomores. So I'm just going to have to put him at 0 minutes for the year. So you had your season opener. What'd you think? What kind of happened? And maybe anything that stands out to you? And it's got to be great that we're getting this thing finally started after grinding on recruiting for so long.
Yeah, I was really excited about the games. My team, I will say, underwhelmed, if that's the proper way to look at it. We played, who did we play? UC Santa Barbara. We were heavy favorites and came away with an 11-point win. So, you know, not can't be too upset, but at the same time, you know, I would have liked for a little bit more of a dominating performance from my team. When I look at my box score, you know, I wanted to see how I have 2 4-star guys, so I wanted to kind of see how they did. My 1 4-star, my best player, he kind of gave me a nice all-around game with 4 assists, 5 rebounds, 10 points. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We have a big game. My next game is at number 18 Iowa. So if we can somehow win that game, man, that gets my season started off really good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's awesome that you have, get the win and moving on with recruiting and the big game coming up. So cool. I'll let you get going, but yeah, that's great. And we're moving this thing right along. Looking forward to the next one, man. I'll talk to you in a bit.
All right.
See ya. So we both have big games coming up. You got to stay locked in. Hit the like button if you haven't yet. Be sure to subscribe. For all your coverage of the Miami Hurricanes, visit InsideTheU.com. Thanks for watching, and hit me up on Twitter at InsideTheU.